You are listening to a Raptors podcast, the place every week for all things Raptors. Get ready and never underestimate the heart of a champion. All right, hello and welcome back to a Raptors podcast. I am your host as always, Lucky Roberts, and I am here talking to you after the Raptors fall for the 10th straight time, this time against the Washington Wizards. A Wizards team who are 13-58, and the Raptors 23-48 have just fallen to them. Thankfully, though, this is to the Raptors' benefit. Currently in the 6th overall draft pick. Jesus, I don't know why that took me so many words to just convey that we have the 6th pick currently if the season were to end today. And the Grizzlies are 24 wins and I think 48 losses. So if we are winning any game basically down the stretch, it really puts our pick in jeopardy, our pick that is top 6 protected. So while dropping a game against a team like Washington may seem like the immoral thing to do, at the end of the day, this is what this team needs to be better in the future. And losing out on our pick this year, the value that we lose out on would be tremendous. And so we lose by 3 points against a team that, if you look, like I said last week, if you look talent-wise, I don't think this Raptors team is much better than this. I think we're worse talent-wise. I mean, Gary Trent has 31 in this game, 10 free throws, only 1 for 7 from 3, but 10 for 26. He's going to be getting the bulk of the shots. So is Kelly Olynyk. So is going to be Grady Dick. And we're seeing guys like Nwora and Akbaji now go into starting roles. Akbaji with a really nice, solid game. And like this Wizards team's defense is pitiful this year, and the Raptors are only able to put up 109 points. It's the dog days, people. Denny Avdia, 13 rebounds, 22 points. Their starters are NBA players, and our starters are NBA players. Their bench is not, our bench is not, but their starters played better today. And because, Kyle Kuzma, probably the best player on the court. Second best player, you would have to say Jordan Poole, which is a wild thing to say, just because of how bad he's been and how much I don't like the way he plays the game of basketball. But he's the second best player on the court. And then you look at third, and the argument for Toronto is Gary Trent or Kelly Olynyk, maybe one of those two guys. And the argument for Washington, I guess you could argue Bruce Brown, but he's not even starting. So, and then their third best player, Denny Avdia, Richaun Holmes. I think that's an argument you can have. Denny Avdia, Corey Kispert, or Gary Trent Jr. I guess Gary Trent does knock him out just a little bit, but they still have the two best players and the bulk of the depth. And the Raptors kept it within 3. And once again, as I said last week, and I will continue to say, you look at the schedule, Raptors could end out the season. They've currently on a 10-game losing streak, and I don't see them winning any more games. They could end up being 17 straight losses to end out the year. Hopefully my mic is okay. Definitely going to have a peek on that. Anyway, 17 straight losses is something that's very feasible. Earlier in the year, you're making fun of the Pistons for going on a big loss streak, and you're making fun of the Spurs for going on a big loss streak. Well, that's the Raptors now, and this is the talent we have, and we want to do this. Unfortunately, we are doing this to ourselves, and we are... I would argue we're ruining the culture we've built, and that is probably Masai's greatest achievement. Obviously, he crafted the championship, but the championship was crafted from the culture in the Raptors arena, and the culture came with Masai, and it came with Lowry, and we don't have Lowry anymore, and it's gone now. Obviously, Lowry's been gone for a while, but it's very evident that the culture has shifted, not only in the players and the coaching, but also the culture has shifted with the fans. There's people coming. They're still playing top dollar because Toronto keeps growing, and the Raptors are just they're Canada's team, and you're not usually going to find a cheap ticket, and so MLSE can basically do whatever they want, which is understandable. If I were in their shoes, I would be doing the exact same thing that they're doing. But as somebody who isn't in their shoes, it's like kind of sucks. So it's where we stand, and we've lost the diehard fans, and we've lost the "We the North" mantra. But once again, that's life, and we can probably get it back. I think Toronto fans are still as avid about their team as ever. I just don't think we get those avid fans to those games as much as we need to. But once again, why, for a losing team, why even bother? It was a good game for Gary Trent, 31 points, like I said earlier. Kelly Olynyk didn't really shoot too hot. Only shot 1 3, which is interesting. You would have thought he'd be able to put more up. He had 14, 4 for 11 for the field, but 10 assists. A little bit of a point Kelly. I apologize for my yawn. It's too late. Way too late. Anyway, 10-point Kelly we had. 10 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. He's a really good... He does fill out the stat sheet defensively, which is something I didn't expect to see from Kelly joining the Raptors. But he's done that at least. And maybe, if you're put in the center position, that's just going to happen anyway. But I think that's still you definitely love what you're seeing from him. And it's not like it's a talented Wizards team. I know they turn the ball over a hell of a lot. So definitely understandable. We still, though, got out-rebounded by 13 in this game against the Wizards, who, yeah, sure, they have Rashawn Holmes. He had 14 boards in this one. And I guess they have Denny Avdia, who's a board getter with his 13. Kyle Kuzma had 9. Bagley had 8. It's so evident that this team needs a big. We have Gaye playing backup big right now, with Boucher getting injured, and it's the barest of the bones currently on this roster for the Raptors. It's interesting to watch for a little bit, but also sometimes it's what is this team? This is not my team that I'm watching here. And losing to the Wizards is not something that my team would do. But here we are. And the Raptors did do that. And, yeah, losing to the Wizards is sort of a crazy thing. Just to think of all the different picks and all the money they've wasted. And after all this time, the Raptors are in the exact same spot as the Wizards. After all the success, it doesn't matter. You can go back to being the worst team, whenever. And that's where we are now. At a certain point, I'm going to start looking ahead to the draft because there's not too much to talk about these games. The Raptors are just getting killed. I mean, we played our 3 other games this week are the Thunder, the Kings, and the Magic. I'll talk about the Thunder game where the Raptors lose by 20. Thunder advance to 49-20 on their road to 50 wins. Shea plays 33 minutes. A classic Shea game. If he played more minutes, he would have probably got to his 31, but he had 23, 7, and 8. Chet Holmgren, really, really impressive as a rookie, as everybody knows. 18 points, 10 rebounds, really efficient from 3, efficient from the field. Got 2 steals, a block. I mean, Shea had 3 steals, a block. Jalen Williams had 20 points, 3 steals, 2 blocks. So I really, anybody can play defense against this Raptors team, I guess is what I'm saying. Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, both with 10 points. Those guys will be on and off, and they were off. It didn't really matter, though, because the Raptors' best player in this one, they're playing without Gary Trent Jr., is Kelly Olynyk, I guess. Is Bruce Brown, I guess. Is Grady Dick. I mean, Freeman Liberty started in this one. It's wild. And he puts energy, I guess, puts effort, but he's not an NBA caliber player, and that's very obvious. I think he could be if he was a bit bigger, but he's not, and he's not that great of a shooter. He was 0 for 3 against the Thunder, 0 for 2 against the Wizards in these games that I'm going to be talking upcoming. He was 0 for 1. I mean, has he hit a 3 yet? I assume he's hit a 3 yet. It's just, yikes, man. Jeez. Against the Magic here, he didn't hit one. Shot one, didn't hit one. And this is what I'm talking about. He's just not an NBA player. He puts energy, he puts effort. I like his finishing around the rim. He's a crafty guy. But, we're not going to be signing him. I mean, if you're a 10-day on the 23-47 Raptors team who just lost to the Wizards, you're not getting signed to anybody in the offseason. That's for damn sure. But Grady Dick, I like what I've seen for him, giving him the reins a little bit, making him figure out his game. I mean, this is still NBA competition. This is the Thunder. He's putting up 21 points. That's good. There's probably a lot of players in the NBA, if you gave them opportunity like this, they would be able to do so. But it's still, you'd like to see the player take advantage of the opportunity when it's thrust upon him. And he has done that. That's a lot. It's something good to see. I find it super interesting, the dynamic between Akbaji and Jordan Nwora, because they're both in the same stage of their career. They're the second team, and they've got to figure out, can I really make this thing stick here in the NBA? And Akbaji, being the higher pick and all, has gotten he's gotten the starting opportunity here, basically. And I don't know if he's that much. I don't think he's better than Nwora. I've seen Nwora hit some tough shots. Akbaji does what he's told, I guess. He's got a quick first step. He can finish, but not as well as I've seen the finishes from Nwora. And they shoot basically the same. So I think you're just betting basically on the draft position at that point, where if it's their second team, you don't need to draft. You don't need to play them based on draft position. You know what you got. Your fans aren't expecting Ibsen. They're not expecting too much. So, let them earn their play time. But I digress, I guess. Garrett Temple played 18 games in this one. That basically 18 minutes in this one. Basically tells you all you need to know in this game against the Thunder. The Raptors fall in this one. Now moving on to the Raptors-Kings game. This one was even worse. It was 30 points we lost to against the Kings. Once again, you've got your regular starters, Bruce Brown, Trent Akbaji, Grady Dick, basically playing with 4 shooting guards on the court and a power forward who's forced to play center and cover up everything. And the Raptors got mopped because Olynyk didn't have the best of games. Bruce Brown didn't have the best of games. Grady Dick didn't have the best of games. Gary Trent was fine. And Nwora was good. Akbaji was as good as Nwora in this one. Less turnovers than Nwora had. And, yeah, the Raptors got mopped. They only put up 89 points against a Kings team, which is a really good offense, but they have some really great defensive players. I mean, Sabonis was insane in this one. Not really on the defensive side, but he had 17 rebounds, 10 assists, and 13 points. The Raptors losing the rebound battle here by 22. Insane. Against the Thunder. The Raptors had 36 rebounds to 46, 10. You can win a game losing 10 rebounds. It's hard. You can win a game. 23 rebounds, you can't win a game losing 23 rebounds. Because they have Sabonis, one of the best centers in the league, and we're currently forcing Olynyk to play there. And our power forward, when we force our power forward to play center, is Grady Dick. Or Bruce Brown, I guess. Kelly Olynyk had 3 rebounds in this game. Our leading rebounder was Gary Trent Jr. Like, Jesus Christ. De'Aaron Fox, he was good as well. Doesn't take much to beat the Raptors. Malik Monk, Chris Duarte had some nice, plus 16, plus 14 coming off the bench, scoring lots of points. Duarte, really efficient Canadian product there. I thought I would like to see him in a Raptors jersey. He had a strong start to his career and sort of not really panned out for him as well as it would have seemed early on in his career. I mean, this year he's only averaging 4 points per game, where he was up in like he was up in the teens, right? And he's sort of fallen on the wayside, and that's sort of a position you can see Akbaji taking, and you can see, you can see Akbaji, you can see Noir take it, and then you can see Grady Dick taking it as well. But Grady Dick has more time than those guys, and he has more opportunity than those guys, so maybe not, but it's something that worries you for sure, and as Grady needs to really become a solid defender to really have a viable position in this Raptors lineup if we do ever decide to become a good team at some point. And moving on to the final game of the week, Raptors playing the Magic, the second of a doubleheader against the Magic. The Raptors fall by 15. Paolo Banchero, who's been a breakout year for the young 21-year-old, 22 points per game, over 5 rebounds, over 5 assists. He had 29 in this one, hitting a lot of threes, and that was sort of the swing factor for his development, is if he can develop that three-pointer, good luck stopping him, and the Raptors couldn't. It's not like the Raptors had the talent to anyway, but the Raptors could not. Jordan Nwora, a really solid game for him, best player on the court for the Raptors. Quickly caveated. 18 points, 7 rebounds leading the team. Raptors, actually did a decent job in the differential of rebounds in this game. But once again, Raptors don't have the talent. They were only lost by 2. I might look back. Next week I'll have the consecutive amount of games that the Raptors have lost the rebound battle, because this is getting ridiculous. But once again, Olynyk putting up 11 points, getting some assists, a steal. He's not going to be giving you more than that, really. You can't expect more than that. You can't expect more than 15 from Gary Trent Jr. You can't expect more than 12 from Bruce Brown, 18 from Noir. You definitely can't expect more from. So, yeah, putting up 96 games is going to be 96 points in a game is going to be the norm, and for offensive-minded head coach like Darko, it's he's going to have one of the worst offenses in the league as a rookie, and I don't think it's his fault. I think it's something he's inherited, and I think that's something that Masai didn't have a team built for his coaching style, which is understandable. He just hired him. But it was a struggle early on, and they realized it wasn't working. Make your trades. They made their trades, and now the Raptors got hit with the injury bug and simultaneously traded all their best guys. And so we're drowning currently. But we're drowning in money, or at least MLSE is. But the Raptors, yes, dropping all 4, now 10 games straight, losing, and it does not seem to be ending soon. The season seems to be ending soon, but the light at the end of the tunnel is through a crap load of losses. And that's the way that it goes, I guess. Anyway, that's going to end the Raptors portion of this podcast. I'll quickly go over the NBA landscape, and then I'll have you guys on your way here on this. I guess I'm releasing this on Sunday now, on this Sunday evening. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention the upcoming schedule for the next week. Only 2 games here for you against Brooklyn, against New York, the 2 New York teams, Monday, Wednesday, then a big break, actually, Sunday, the Philadelphia 76ers, but I will not be covering that one until the week after. So just 2 games, Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn will be the more winnable game, but at least we'll see OG back in Toronto. That'll be a fun one to watch for a nice change of pace. Nice to have a fun one here. And we do have another game against Pascal in Toronto, which will be another fun one as well. And we have another game against Washington in Toronto. So we'll have to see if we can get revenge there. But like I said, now I'm going to be talking about the landscape around the NBA. All right, and I am back. And like I've been saying for I think the past 1,000,000 weeks, Celtics are top of the East now by over 10 games, untouchable, and they seem dominant. They're not even going to get to 20 losses on this year. They're going to be well into the 60s on the wins. A 9-game win streak, currently 15-1 still in their division, and they are a force to be reckoned with. The closest one to reckoning them in the East is the Milwaukee Bucks, who have, I wouldn't say righted the ship. I guess they've righted the ship. They haven't really exceeded the ship. Doc Rivers is doing well to be in second, I guess, but they're way behind where they need to be and where they need, competing with the Celtics. But with Dame and with Giannis and all of the talent sprinkled around that roster, you can see them making a run if they can just figure it out. You can say the same thing about Cavs. They have a little bit of a less talent than the Bucks. They don't have that Giannis stuff, but they don't even have a Dame really on their team. But Mitchell is, I guess they're comparable, Dame and Mitchell. And they're only 2 games behind the Bucks, and the Bucks should be way, way better. Cavs 4-6 in their last 10. The Knicks a game and a half behind. 42 wins for them. They've had a little bit of an injury bug and are currently in 4th. And the Magic could quite easily overtake them, who are really finding their stride right now, 7-3 in their last 10. And looking to move up with a really impressive young core with Jalen Suggs, who has established himself as an NBA player. Good for him. I'm happy to see him do that. Finally. Took him long enough. He's light years ahead of him now, but he's a really great defender who with a lot of athleticism for a pretty small body, which is it's great to see defense be important for people, and I love seeing defensive basketball. I don't like it being easy for the offense to score, and he's a fun one to watch for that, and Magic is a fun team to watch. Siakam's Pacers now in 6th, wrapping up the playoff teams. The Heat and 76ers behind him, but to be honest, I don't think they're catching up. 4-6 and 3-7 in their last 10. The Heat maybe, 76ers definitely not, with Embiid being injured and Nick Nurse sort of fading away. They may finish in 8th. They might even finish in 9th or 10th. The Bulls are currently 4.5 games behind. They aren't really they're 5-5 in their last 10, I guess, but they haven't really been wanting to take it over from the 76ers, but the 76ers have been just that bad of recent, where they'll probably be 42-42 by the end of the year, which is a wild statement about the 76ers, and it's a statement that you would have expected knowing Joel Embiid getting injured. And like I said, the Bulls and Hawks rounding out the play-in teams, whatever, don't want to talk about them. The Nets, the Raptors, yet to be eliminated. The Hornets, Wizards, Pistons have been eliminated from the East, but the Raptors are the only team without a win in their last 10 games in the East. Welcome to purgatory. But as long as we stay worse than the Memphis Grizzlies, who have been eliminated in the West, we're fine and we're doing well enough, because nobody else is going to catch us. We're going to be 6th or we're going to be 7th by the end of this year. In the Western Conference, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Nuggets, both tied for first, currently 8-2, 4-game win streak for the Thunder, and the Nuggets with 3. The Nuggets looking like a juggernaut right now, really smart for saving their guys over the course of the year, making sure they're not playing too hard, really just figuring stuff out because they know they're going to be there eventually, and all of a sudden, they're first in the Western Conference, first team in the Western Conference to 50 wins, and they're going to be almost impossible to stop. Just the way that they're constructed fits so well together. Every player complements each other so well. But the Thunder also have a really nice young squad, sort of similar, not as way more successful than the Magic, but a similar blueprint with these young players and a star being born in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Timberwolves also have a young star, but also have some older players surrounding him with Rudy Gobert. I wouldn't call Cat old, but he's definitely not young anymore. They find themselves in 3rd, and then obviously there's the drop-off. The Clippers and the Pelicans are in purgatory themselves. I've liked the Clippers over the course of the year, but they've sort of slowed down. They need to pick some more momentum up coming to the playoffs. The Pelicans have that momentum currently, and it's a young core, and they look great with Zion in the best shape of his life. Finally, Ingram, just dynamite offensive player. They have a lot of big wings, and it's tough to stop. It's tough to get buckets on them even. Then it's the Suns, who are surprisingly in the position of 6th. The Kings are only a half game behind them. The Mavericks are only a half game behind them. Luke and Kyrie. Kyrie hit this crazy fadeaway left hand floater. Runner, I guess what you would call it, but he's running away from the basket. Insane shot. Kyrie can do that. And I guess it's the reason why we haven't seen Luka leave. But I don't think it's going to make much of a difference come playoff time. But that's why they're in 8th place. And the Kings in 7th place, probably not going to be too good either here in the playoffs. And then you have the two old grandpas of the West, the Lakers, the Warriors, still fighting it out, living their last life, their best life, best season possible. And they are honestly getting caught here by the Houston Rockets, who have been on a heater in the 11th seed. 8 straight wins for the Houston Rockets, now back at 500 for the first time since November, I would say. And, Freddie's, betting on himself. Season's not done. And they can catch the Warriors here pretty easily, pretty feasibly. And the great thing, the thing that stands out for me about the Rockets is their 25-11 record at home, which is a really exemplary record, and it shows that when they're at home, they can be just as good as anybody else. And then anyway, rounding out the bottom of the Western Conference, the Jazz, the Grizzlies, the Blazers, and the Spurs all basically eliminated. The Jazz just need to be mathematically eliminated at this point. But that's going to do it for Raptors Podcast today. Thank you for listening as always. Thank you. Follow me on Twitter. Do what you want to do. Subscribe. Hit the like button. Whatever you want to do. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next week after the 2 games against the 2 New York teams. And, thanks as always.